There are a ton of baking competition shows out there. The Great British Bake Off, Baking Impossible, Bake Squad, Sugar Rush, Cake Boss, School of Chocolate, Zumbo's Just Desserts. There's Kids Baking Championship. There's Crime Scene Kitchen, which actually looks really good. But I'm here to talk about a different baking show. A show with a banging theme song, a great concept, but not very good execution.
Is it cake?
A show where 9 cake artists from across the country gather to compete in a competition of cakes that look like things. I'd tell you about the competitors, but the only person that they introduce in the intro is Justin the Kid.
Justin the Kid.
And the only thing we really know about him is he's 18 and in high school. There's a $50,000 grand prize at the end of the show in each episode. Each contestant has the opportunity to win up to $10,000, which is interesting. I haven't actually seen that before, so that's cool. Now, before I get started, I do want to preface this by saying I've only seen the first episode, so that's completely where my judgment is coming from. Now, I did enjoy watching this show, but as I said earlier, the presentation, I got a lot to talk about. My first and probably main issue is with the host, Mikey Day.
I'm Mikey Day.
Mikey is one of the cringiest hosts I've ever seen in a competition show. Now, I'm not really sure how these competition shows work, but I can only assume that there is a small team of writers that come up with a loose script for the host. So the awkward jokes might not be his fault, but his delivery really doesn't help. I'm not sure how else to describe this, but every sentence out of Mikey's mouth is like a band kid at lunch trying to get a laugh from people. He oftentimes just puts emphasis on a single word and then pauses for a laugh. He structures regular sentences as if they're jokes with a punchline, but there's never a punchline. I'm assuming he never got a huge reaction out of the contestants, which brings me to my next issue with the show, the editing. The editors put in so many clap and laugh tracks. If I had $1 for every time ADR was used, I could fill my car with gas. And that's not cheap. There are 10 people in this studio. There does not need to be an applause after every single sentence. There's no crowd. Take this opening scene, for example.
Hello.
Mikey Day, our Lord and Savior, spins in on the cake wall, arms outstretched, alluding to Christ on the cross. And suddenly, from this room of 9 people, all holding tablets, an applause of a small audience chimes in. Look at this, some of them aren't even clapping, and most are doing that awkward, like, soft clap thing you do when you got something in your hand. Okay, that looks weird. You know, when you do like this just to be polite, the soft, like, golf clap? Yeah, they were doing that. This is what it should have sounded like. Unless the camera crew are just absolutely losing their shit behind the scenes just to being in the mere presence of Mikey Day, the studio did not sound like that. He then puts silly emphasis on a word in a sentence, and he's met with a dry wheeze and a small laugh track that resembles Dave Chappelle making an uncomfortable race joke in Texas.
And now, that incredibly specific skill can earn you thousands of dollars.
Editing aside, the contestants are extremely talented, and I did enjoy seeing what they could create. To start the show, they bring out 6 fast food items, but here's the twist. One of them is a cake. Contestants have 20 seconds to figure out which item is the cake by looking at them from 20 feet away. Although, you know, I'm not entirely sure that they even had a chance, because 3 people have to get it right to move on, right? What happens if only one person gets it right? Do they just not film that episode? Like, Mikey points at this leprechaun.
Andrew.
Yeah.
And tells him that he chose number 6, and he seems so confused by that.
You picked number 6.
I did?
All right, let's find out.
Conspiracy theories aside, Mikey Day pulls out a sword and hits everyone with another classic one-liner.
They gave me a sword to do this. 0 safety training with it. They literally just said, you'll be using a sword. There it is.
A couple people get it wrong, he chops up some fast food, and then it's Johnny's turn. See, every time he asked a person which cake they chose, they had to justify it just to kind of put in some banter, fill up the episode time. But Johnny was not having any of Mikey's shit. Mikey tries cracking a couple jokes, but Johnny shuts that shit down and tells him to cut the damn cake.
Being like, why'd you answer that? I just want you to cut the damn cake. You know what I mean?
This is where I started liking this Johnny guy.
Just cut the damn cake.
Yes.
Don't want to hear your jokes. We get it. Cut the cake.
Yes, exactly. Shut up and cut the damn cake, Mikey. I feel like they did this whole bit just so they can cut it down to 3 contestants per episode. I'm assuming they didn't have maybe the budget or the space to have 9 fully decked out kitchens, but they still wanted to have a large cast of contestants. So they have 9 people on their show, but only 3 get to participate in each episode. Not to mention, the other 6 contestants get to sit there for 8 hours. Mikey calls the winners his 3 little kitties.
My 3 little kitties.
And each person gets to choose which item they'll be replicating with cake. Sam picks a hamburger, which is kind of a cop-out, let's be honest. Hey Moo picks a croissant sandwich. And Johnny, the absolute madman, picks a hard-shell taco. I feel like tacos would be one of the hardest to replicate in the choices they were given, but what do I don't know anything. I'm not a baker. Finally, the 3 winners get to jump into the kitchen and get their cake started, while the other 6 sit and talk shit for 8 hours.
As slow as they're working, I don't think they're gonna have enough time.
The show cuts between showing progress on the cakes and finally introducing the contestants. I guess we won't be learning about Justin the Kid this episode. Johnny confesses that his talent comes from a place of mental instability.
What I lack in experience, I think I make up for in like, whoa, 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 what's going on up there? You're a little cuckoo.
Haymo admits that she's never eaten bacon before.
I've never eaten bacon in my life, so I don't know what I'm doing.
And by the looks of it, she's never seen bacon either. Halfway through the time, Mikey brings out 6 decoy foods for each person.
Hello, bakers. I'm spinning on the wall again.
4 of which the bakers get to choose to display their cake with, in an attempt to fool the judges. Of course, while they choose, Mikey brings out the hard-hitting questions.
What are you gonna use for sesame seeds?
I'm just gonna, like, fondant.
Oh,
So I'm just gonna-
fondant.
Then suddenly, Johnny makes a revelation. Here, I was thinking that he picked hard-shell tacos. Turns out he picked hard-shell tacos.
So these decoys are interesting. They're all hard shell tacos.
It's like, yeah, no shit. That's what you picked. With the decoy chosen, Mikey Day decides it's time for him to brush up on his crowd work and heads over to the loser section.
The beard changes color, but the hair stays the same.
When you see Andrew, the first thing you think is not, that's a pastry chef from Iowa. Right?
At this point, we're 5 hours into the baking, and it's been smooth sailing, but suddenly, disaster strikes.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh my God.
What? What happened?
Johnny experiences cramps, apparently for the first time ever.
My hands are taking on a life of their own. It feels like there's a small demon child inside of me. Like,
This is where I stopped liking that Johnny guy. But have no fear, he does pull through. As time ticks down, we're met with Mikey Day reading a book called, you guessed it, Learn How to Cake.
Oh, that's fondant. Okay.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Followed shortly by more words said in a goofy way.
I hope you guys used your sugar shapers. Or a Dresden tool.
I don't know what that is.
Or eggs.
Another classic zinger from the Is It Cake writing team. As the time ticks down, we get glimpses of the nearly completed cakes. One thing I found really funny was they go to show Himu's cake and you see this beautifully crafted croissant sandwich. And then suddenly they change the focus and you see her actual cake. And they don't even put it fully in focus. They make sure you cannot look at it correctly. I mean, to be fair, yes, it did look great, but if they put it fully in focus, you would definitely be able to tell that it was a cake. Hers was probably the most obvious. Then, in the last 5 minutes of baking, Johnny just straight up cheats. He doesn't want the decoys to look too realistic, So he takes some of the tomatoes that he made and puts them on the decoys. Is this not considered cheating? Is there no rules to this show? I don't get it. And they literally never mention this at all. He says to the camera, I'm putting my shit on the real tacos, and nobody says anything about it. They show him spreading his tomatoes on a flat bottom taco, but then it cuts, and he's also putting them on a round bottom taco. And he said he only did it on one. So which is it, Johnny? Did you put it on more than one? What the fuck is it? I'm also like 90% sure that the second taco they showed him putting them on is the taco that the judges picked. I mean, look at this! First of all, the flat bottom tacos definitely have real tomatoes on them. Those are real tomatoes. Those are not what he was putting on. But the taco that fooled them literally looks like it's topped with jelly. Of course they were gonna pick that one. Anyways, the time ends and they bring in the judges. This was fun. The judges are just as awkward as Mikey.
Cookbook author, Mr. Ronnie Woo!
Oh, yeah, I don't know why I did this. This is just really eating stuff.
I am not a huge fan of the way that they work the judging portion of this show. They have 3 judges, but they only get one answer to lock in. On top of that, they have a 20-second time limit to decide, and they do not adhere to that whatsoever. On the first contestant, they take nearly 40 seconds to lock in an answer. And it's great because the entire time you can hear Mikey pleading with them to lock in an answer. And they're just like, what if we don't? What happens if we don't do it?
We're not agreeing. This isn't working.
Let's go one. All right. All right.
What happened if we don't choose?
Apparently nothing happens. They can take as much time as they'd like. The judges correctly guessed both Sam and Hey Moose cakes. And something that I do like that they do is if the judges find your cake, you actually have to go up and cut it up and serve it to them. It's just like rubbing salt on the wounds. It's like, you stupid idiot. You couldn't even make the cake look like a burger. Now you're gonna have to serve it. Also, whenever the judges locked in the answer and it was the person's cake, they would always cut to the person who made the cake and they look pissed. For both of them, you could tell immediately that the judges got it right because they look so unhappy. Finally, Tacos get his Johnny judged. Finally, Johnny gets his tacos judged. They pick number 2, and of course, they gotta drop in a classy poop joke.
I picked, because anytime you got a good taco,
You go.
number 2.
I knew that was coming and I loved it.
The tomatoes look like gummy bears.
Oh, yeah! Oh my God, and it looks like a little turd in there. It looks like a tiny little cat turd.
Now, according to the judges, they picked this taco because the tomatoes look like gummy bears. So again, how is this not cheating? Imagine if this was Johnny's cake and they're just sitting there telling him that it looks like literal shit. Yeah, we picked number 2 because those dumb fucking tomatoes and that stupid poopy meat. This thing sucks. Anyways, he fools him. He wins $5,000 and he goes on to say how great this is because he's broke. And the judges seem way too excited that he's broke.
I'm so broke.
Oh, good.
Are you really?
After this, Johnny has the opportunity at winning another $5,000 by deciding between a sack of money or a sack of money made of cake. He guesses right, and he gets the money, and then we get one final taste of Mikey's attempt at comedy.
I'll be back in 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh my God, I've been caught up in the gears. Oh my God. Oh my God. Please, someone help.
They all fake laugh, a clap track plays, and the show ends. Overall, I did enjoy the show. I mean, obviously, it's always gonna be entertaining watching people with far more talent than you do things you could never do. I will say it felt like it dragged a bit. The runtime is nearly 40 minutes, and they probably could have cut it down to about 30, which would have been better. Other than that, it did what it needed to as a baking competition, and it does seem to stand out from the others. Anyways, that's it for the video. This was a very different style of video for me to make, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you guys did enjoy and would like to see more, feel free to subscribe. If not, send me death threats. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
You want me to feed it to you?
Yeah, put it in my mouth.
Well done.